Alright guys, I'm getting ready to start building the jumper wires. What's up? So these guys right here are the original wires, and one of the originals. And I'm going to be replacing those with new stuff, and going to put ferrules on it. And it's also going to get sleeving, but I haven't got the sleeving yet. So I'm just going to get started building it. So there's my ferrules. Got some of those. Okay, this is my distribution. It's going to be back there, but that doesn't come into play this year. That. These guys heat shrink. So, all right. That'll all be that. So I got the big ones, these little bitty ones, and I got these. Let's see, I'm gonna pick me a flavor. Probably that length right there. Those will work. Now I go through the tedious process of putting all these different wires together. These are going to be the ones to jumper the coils, so to connect two voice coils in series. So these are my little heat shrinks. That's what do this. And these are my ferrules for these. So trying to get a look at my size here to know about how much of that I need to strip back. I want to make them all the same, obviously. I want to try to use this. Let me test these on this piece of the old piece. Make sure that's before I start trying to strip with this. I can always do a knife technique, which is proven, but this, if it works, yeah, it looks pretty good. I can make that work, I think. Okay. Now I'm using these wire ferrules on the end of the wires to neaten them up and also to make a solid connection, make them more rugged. These are the little plugs that plug into the push terminals on the speaker. So, do it this way. So I want consistency. We'll slide that on there with it laying down here. That is the first end to the first one. So unfortunately I do not have my crimping tool for these ferrules, therefore I am kind of at a standstill in that department. But we do get the rest of the harness put together and get a look at the distribution block and the way it's all going to be set up. And I had a good day today. It was a very good day. It was nice and warm and I enjoyed myself tremendously. This one goes this way. Two times. Now for the next trick, I have to make a little bit more complicated things because these will be used to plug into the speaker side. But these guys maybe, or these 4 gauges, which are kind of big, are going to be used to plug into this side. So what's going to happen is the positives and negatives from the 4 subs are going to connect here. So it'll be 4 positives and 4 negatives. And then one of each of these terms is going to go to the amplifier. I ain't sure exactly how this layout's going to go yet, but we're going to go check that out in just a second. Once I get that figured out, then I can figure out the runs and the links of this to connect to these. So let's go look at that. All right, so this is what I'm thinking, something like this. And my right here, where my right here, that's where my wires come off to go up there for my speakers. So I have them all coming back to that same spot and then connecting to a master right there. That's the plan. And see, these little ferrule wires will go right in there and then come right up there with a connection for that. So I just got to get that measurement figured out to make those wires. I think I'm going to try to use a 4 gauge lug on an 8 gauge wire like this and test it and see how it looks. And if it doesn't look right or doesn't work right, then I'll use these little guys, but I would rather use the heavier one. So anyway, these 2 wires I've cut are going to run to, notice one is longer than the other one here, because they're going to run to the distribution block from the amplifier for the speakers. And I'm going to terminate one end of them with ferrules and the other end with a ring terminal. But like I said, I hadn't decided on which ring terminal I'm going to use, whether it's going to be one of these heavy duty 4 gauge ones or whether I'm going to use one of these little lightweight guys. So I'm going to do some testing and figure out which one of those is going to work. The first one I'm going to test is seeing how well a 4 gauge terminal will crimp down onto this 8 gauge wire using my big Timco crimper. So we'll just test that right now. I've already got some stripped on this end, so I'm going to test it on this old piece of wire. See, what I may have to do to get a good, what I may do, like I said, this is a test drive. So we're figuring out how this will work and if it works, and if it does work, how it works. I think what I'm going to try first is doubling up on this 8 gauge, folding it in half so it's double, and then putting it in this 4 gauge terminal. That gives me some good fitment there, and then we'll set the Timcos to squeeze hard. Yeah, little bitty words, I gotta look. I haven't used the Crimp 8 gauge yet. It looks like all the way down is, yeah, all the way down is 8 gauge. So that is Not much. We'll see what happens. I don't know if this will work or not. Oh, lots of experimentation going on. It's tight, but it's supposed to be. Well, folks, I'll assure you that is a solid crimp. I think I would want to do it the other, well, definitely, there's no doubt that's a good crimp. And that should work fine on those terminals. But I think what I would do is, the next time is I'll crimp it from the other side. I think it'll look better. We're going to try it. I think it's going to work. I definitely got plenty of crimp there. This thing is serious business. It don't mess around. So on these guys, again, I'm going to double them like I did before because that seemed to work pretty good. So I need to strip back enough to double it on one end and enough for a ferrule on the other end. But we're gonna work this up into a frenzy here. That is a nice piece of copper. And I'm going to double it over. Now let's see here. Slip that bad boy up in there. Gotta get all the strays. Now you know what? I like that a lot. It looks a lot better than those little lightweight dudes. And I'm paying attention to how this cord is wanting to go to dictate how my positioning of everything. I want that curve to fall down that way. And I've also discovered that I want the dented side. I want the dented side underneath, not on top. So I want to run it in this way. And let's see how this works out. Let's see, that's clean. And then the dent's underneath it. That looks good. Now this, I've really got that crimper cranked down hard, so it's no joke. So that is good. Now we make 2 of those, and then we'll heat shrink them. I think we'll be in business. That works. That works. So we'll make up both of these and be good to go. So the connection is really tight. I have to back that out just a little bit more to get it in there. But the beauty of using these ferrules and this 8 gauge is that when you get that, when you make this connection with that ferrule in there, it's solid. I still got to get it out just a little bit more. It ain't quite up in there all the way. Got to back it off just a little bit more. So yeah, when you get those in there and you tighten those down, it's just a solid connection. Nice and clean, you don't have to worry about it. So now these wires will go up here and connect, and I'll show you. So you see how the ground connects here, comes up, connects, positive will connect, then it goes back together. But they sent me 2 different size terminal blocks. Now this one, it fits. This one, not so much. Which means I'm gonna have to bore out these guys, or I'll have them send me another one of these blocks. But apparently there's 2 different sizes. And but once this is connected, you can see how that will work. And then the speaker wires will come in and connect to all four of those. So we'll have 4 positives and 4 grounds coming in. Be nice and clean. And just as a side note, remember how I guessed at the links on this? When that one's sitting on that, and they're together right there where I had them set at, and that's on there. Look at that. Did I nail that or what? It's perfect. That's crazy. So essentially, I'll have this one slip through there like that. That's essentially how that's going to run. And that lines up perfectly. And then the other ones will run in. So still working the details out, but we're getting there. All right, so this is how I'm working this. A layout using a 4 and a 5. I got the 4, had it in my stash. So your 2 powers, the 2 mains are coming in, and then these 2 will go to those 2 subs. These 2 will go to these 2 subs, and these are the positives. I still got to make the negative cables, and I got the loopers over there that'll connect the coils, but we're getting there. So that'll give you an idea how that's going to play out. Then I'll have my 3 negatives, or my 4 negatives will come off of these and follow the same basic concept, run into the other side of the subs. But I don't know if I have enough wire for this. I'm going to have to get some more wire, which I'm waiting on some other pieces to come in anyway to finish this all up. But I want this to look super clean and be super solid, and I think I'm getting there. Alright guys, all connections made. It's time for a test drive. So there's that. Pretty cool, right? I think so.